video, I'm going to be talking to you about a preschooler's favorite day, show and tell. I will be giving you a quick walkthrough so that you can make this a fun and engaging part of the day. Stay tuned. So in order to make this day fun and engaging, it doesn't just happen. You have to plan and prepare for it, especially if this is your first time doing this. So something that you want to do before is you need to decide what type of show and tell item should they be bringing in. Is it going to be a free choice item that they get to choose whatever they want? And this one may be a roll of the dice because you aren't exactly sure what they are going to bring in. I've had some doozies where a child has bought in a whole dollhouse, and not just like a huge dollhouse because they wanted to share it. So again, is it going to be free choice? Is it going to be based on a theme that you have? So for instance, if you have a farm theme, maybe they can bring in some type of activity or some type of item that can be found on a farm, whether it is a stuffed animal that is a farm animal, or maybe an actual piece of fruit or something like that. You want to ensure that they know what the parameters are for their item. It could also be part of a concept. So in the past, I've had children when we were working on numbers, I had them bring in items in a little baggie with their name on it, a particular amount of items. So if we're working on the number 5, they're going to bring in 5 of something, and then they're going to talk about it, during their show and tell. Another thing to think about and decide is the schedule of your show and tell time. So decide what day of the week you're going to do this on. I prefer Fridays because I like that it's kind of like a way to end the week. And then when you have the day, what time of the day are you going to have them present this? Is it going to be at the beginning of the day, maybe during circle time, or is it going to be maybe right before lunch? Is it going to be towards the end of the day? And also, if you want to, depending on how many children you have in your class, I've had classes as small as 12 children, and then I've had classes as large as 24 children. So you want to decide, are you going to try to cram everybody into one day? So maybe you break them up throughout the day, maybe some during circle time, a few before lunch, and then some towards the end of the day. Or do you want to just give them 2 separate days where half the class can do it on one day and then the other class do it another day? So let's talk about during the show and tell presentation. One important thing to have, and this could also be part of the before, because you're going to have to think about these things before you actually tell them, and that's have clear guidelines. So having those clear guidelines that will tell them how to present their item. Also telling the other children what are they supposed to be doing while that child is presenting. So that can include things like, attention. How are they supposed to show that they are paying attention to that child and listening to that child? And also, what would be the parameters around touching the item that the child has bought in, or because that can turn into something that will make this time a little more time consuming, as well as it can go off the rails real quick. Another thing that you want to consider in your guidelines is, what are they supposed to do when they are done? When the presenter is done talking about their show and tell item, what do they do then? Do you want them to just go sit back down with their item? Do you want them to go put their item away, like in their backpack or their cubby? What are they supposed to do? And for waiting their turn, how are you just gonna pick children randomly, or are you gonna have like a list of children and mark children off when they are done? Another guideline you may want to have is, can they ask questions, or is the child just telling them about this item and you are the question asker? or are you going to open it up to the rest of the class? And again, this can be great, but it can also go off the rails. Something else you may want to consider, maybe this can also be part of the guidelines, is when a child forgets their item at home or they just didn't bring one, are you going to allow them to just maybe pick an item from the classroom that they want, maybe their favorite toy that they like playing with in the classroom or something, or is it going to be strict towards the theme or the concept? You have to decide what you're going to do with those children, because if they know, for instance, it's their day to present, maybe they can present the next day if they forget to bring it in. For instance, if you have children going on Thursday but they forget their item, maybe they can present on Friday if there's enough time. So you have to decide what you're going to do with those children that don't bring one in. Another thing to think about for during is, how long should this take? So how long should each child take? And how will they know when their time is up? Are you going to have like one of those small minute like sand timers, or are you just gonna wait until they are done? Because again, this can work against you in terms of keeping it within a certain amount of time for the whole activity, or they could do it really quick and really short, but you never know what you're gonna get until you actually get it. And then another thing to consider is your role during this whole presentation time. So what are you going to be doing? Again, are you going to be the one who's going to be asking the questions, guiding the conversation or the presentation? You definitely want to be modeling the behavior that you are seeking from the others. Showing them that you are listening attentively and that you aren't fidgeting around and doing other things while the child is, talking about their item that they brought in. So part of the after is thinking about the cleanup time. So are they, again, putting the item away right after they present, or are they just going to sit back down and then wait for everyone else to present and then put their items away? What I've always done is, once you are done presenting, you can go ahead and put it in your backpack. But to me, backpack was a little more safer than having them put it in their cubby, because it's a distraction when it's in their cubby, but when it's in their backpack, it's harder to get to. And then of course, I feel like I've been talking about this in a lot of my videos lately, is your transition from show and tell time. So how are they going to be dismissed from this area, from this time? And then think about, what are they going to be doing afterwards? So these are basically just some ideas for you to think about when you are coming up with a plan. It's not just about, deciding like, oh, I want them to have a show and tell time and then just having one. There's a lot of preparation into it, because just like any other part of your day, if it's not planned, if you don't have a routine, if you don't have procedures for this, it can really blow up in your face. And it could be a classroom management nightmare. I've been there and I've done that. And that's why when you think about it and really sit down and plan it and how you want it to go, you can definitely pick the points that may be a problem so that you can address it in any other kind of way, whether you have to talk to the children or whether it's something that you have to implement as part of the routine or the procedure, whatever the case may be, so that it's a pleasant time and not a headache and something that you dread after you've told them that you're going to be doing this every week. One way to help you also make sure that the children understand what is going on is to also express it to the parents. Let them know what the show and tell expectations are as far as like what to bring in, because that could be a problem there if they aren't clear what the child can bring in. So let the parents know what the overall expectations are for that time of the day, and then make sure that you give them enough time to get the item that the child needs, or help the child find the item in their house. And it also include like the theme or the concept that you are talking about. Make sure you are putting that in the communication as well. One way to do all of this is just to start simple. Start with something that maybe one day you want, or the first time you do it, if you don't have a concept or a theme in mind, maybe start with something that's personal to them. Like maybe you can start with something that they already bring in, like a lovey, and then have them explain, or have them talk about their lovey to you. Start slow, start simple with something that they can choose in the classroom. Maybe favorite item that they like to play with, or a favorite book that they have, or something like that they can present, so that you can go over your expectations about what to do during this time. And then when they are bringing in their own items from school, from home, then they'll be used to doing it. One way to get through this successfully is to create a routine. The first couple times you may not know how you want things to go. You may have planned it one way, but you think that it could go better or smoother a different way. Just make sure that you have some type of routine when you start it, and then you can always tweak it later. Again, modeling the behavior that you want to see, even modeling the presentation. Maybe you can bring in something that means a lot to you, that you can model simply what you are expecting or what you would like to see them do when it's their turn to present. Whatever it is, just model it so that they can see what it looks like. And then one way to avoid a lot of the confusion and a lot of the going into backpacks and cubbies to play with the thing that they brought in is, the thing that I found really successful is having like a crate where they can put all their things in, and I put the crate away so that they won't, find a reason to go to their cubby or find a reason to go to their backpack to play with the item. So if it's a small item, so the crates that you can buy anywhere from like Target or Walmart, they have holes in it. So you would have the parent, if it's a small item, put their item in a sandwich baggie with their name on it, and then you put it inside the crate. I did this because of, an experience with a child bringing in a gigantic dollhouse, that if it doesn't fit in the crate, please don't bring it to school. Please don't bring it to school if it doesn't fit in the crate. So that was another parameter that I didn't really have to say, but it just made sense, even though I did say it to the parents. So putting it in a crate and putting that crate away until it is circle time. So, and it doesn't have to be that, but think of how you want to store the items, or if you even want to store them. But if you think that it's fine in their cubby or in their backpack, then that's fine too. So these are just a couple extra things that I think would help this time of the day go by smoothly, and you won't have to be putting out little fires all day long based on the fact that they bought a toy from home. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful as you develop your show and tell routine, and let's hear about those routines in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.